March 1988, Santa Barbara County, California. Michael Jackson stood at the gates of a 2,700-acre ranch, staring at rolling hills, ancient oak trees, and endless possibilities. The property was called Sycamore Valley Ranch. It cost $19.5 million. Michael bought it without hesitation. He had a vision, to build a place where childhood never ended, a place where he could finally be free. He renamed it Neverland, but dreams built on pain rarely end well. Let's go back to understand why Michael Jackson needed Neverland in the first place. Gary, Indiana, 1960s. The Jackson family home was cramped, chaotic, and controlled by Joe Jackson, a man whose parenting philosophy was simple: perfection or punishment. Michael's childhood wasn't stolen. It was systematically dismantled piece by piece, rehearsal by rehearsal, hit by hit. While other kids played baseball, Michael rehearsed dance routines until his muscles screamed. While other kids attended birthday parties, Michael performed in smoky nightclubs where grown men leered and grown women screamed. By age 11, he was a superstar. By age 13, he was supporting his entire family. By age 25, he was the biggest entertainer on the planet. But he had never been to an amusement park, never played on a swing set, never experienced the simple, irreplaceable magic of being a child. Neverland was Michael's attempt to reclaim what had been taken from him. Construction began immediately. Michael didn't just want a home, he wanted a world. And so, brick by brick, dream by dream, Neverland took shape. The amusement park, a full-scale carnival with a Ferris wheel, carousel, bumper cars, a roller coaster, and a zipper ride. All meticulously maintained, all fully operational, all free for any child who visited. The zoo, exotic animals from around the globe. Giraffes, elephants, tigers, reptiles, llamas. Michael wanted children to experience wonder, to see creatures they'd only read about in books. The movie theater, a private cinema with plush red seats, a popcorn machine, and a library of thousands of films. Michael could watch Chaplin, Disney classics, and E.T. on repeat, movies that reminded him of innocence. The train station, a fully functional steam train that circled the property, complete with a vintage locomotive and passenger cars. Michael would ride it for hours, waving at imaginary crowds. The main house, Tudor-style, sprawling, filled with antiques, oil paintings, and a 2-story library. But the most important room, Michael's bedroom, not lavish, not ostentatious, simple, because Michael Jackson, despite his wealth, never wanted to sleep alone. From the outside, Neverland looked like paradise, and for a while it was. Michael invited sick children from hospitals, kids with terminal illnesses, kids who had never smiled in months. He welcomed underprivileged families, children from broken homes, orphans. At Neverland, they could ride rides, eat candy, play games, and forget, even for a day, that the world could be cruel. Elizabeth Taylor visited. Macaulay Culkin spent weekends there. Emmanuel Lewis, the child actor, became a frequent guest. For these children, Neverland wasn't strange. It was safe. It was magical. It was the childhood Michael never had, offered freely to those who needed it most. But the world didn't see it that way. The media called Michael eccentric, weird, creepy. Why does a grown man need an amusement park? Why does he surround himself with children? The questions weren't curious. They were accusatory. And with every question, the narrative shifted. Neverland, the dream, began its transformation into Neverland, the nightmare. The first accusations. A 13-year-old boy named Jordan Chandler accused Michael Jackson of sexual abuse. The boy's father, Evan Chandler, a dentist with financial troubles, demanded $20 million from Michael. When Michael refused, the accusations went public. The media frenzy was instantaneous. Helicopters circled Neverland. Reporters camped outside the gates. The Santa Barbara Police Department raided the property, searching for evidence. They found nothing incriminating, but the damage was done. Michael settled the civil case for an undisclosed amount, reported to be around $23 million in 1994. No criminal charges were filed. But in the court of public opinion, Michael Jackson was guilty. and Neverland became a symbol not of innocence, but of suspicion. Michael tried to move on. He married Lisa Marie Presley in 1994, partly for love, partly to rehabilitate his image. The marriage lasted less than 2 years. He remarried in 1996 to Debbie Rowe, a dermatology nurse. They had 2 children, Prince and Paris. But the relationship was unconventional at best. Debbie later admitted she was more of a surrogate than a wife. Through it all, Neverland remained. But it was no longer a sanctuary. It was a cage. Michael stopped inviting children. The ride sat unused, rusting under the California sun. The zoo animals were relocated. The laughter that once filled the air was replaced by silence. Michael wandered the property alone, a ghost haunting his own dream. The second wave of accusations, a documentary titled Living with Neverland aired, featuring Martin Bashir interviewing Michael. In the film, Michael held hands with a 13-year-old cancer survivor named Gavin Arvizo and admitted that children often slept in his bedroom. Michael insisted it was innocent. He gave them his bed while he slept on the floor. The world heard something else. Gavin's family accused Michael of molestation. The Santa Barbara District Attorney Tom Sneddon, who had pursued Michael since 1993, finally had his chance. Michael was arrested, fingerprinted, and charged with multiple counts of child molestation. The trial began in January 2005. For 5 months, the world watched as Michael Jackson, the king of pop, the man who had brought joy to billions, sat in a courtroom facing accusations that could destroy him forever. The prosecution's case was weak. Witnesses contradicted themselves. Gavin's mother had a history of filing false claims. Evidence was circumstantial at best. On June 13, 2005, the jury delivered their verdict. Not guilty on all counts. Michael was free. But Neverland was dead. He never returned to live there. The property that had once symbolized his dreams now represented his downfall. In 2006, Michael closed Neverland Ranch, dismissing most of the staff and allowing the amusement park to fall into disrepair. The ride stopped turning. The gardens grew wild. The magic was gone. Michael moved to Bahrain, then Ireland, then Las Vegas, searching for a place that felt like home. He never found it. In 2008, facing financial collapse, Michael defaulted on loans secured by Neverland. The property went into foreclosure. It was eventually purchased by billionaire Ron Burkle and renamed Sycamore Valley Ranch once again, erasing the name Michael had given it, erasing the dream. June 25, 2009. Michael Jackson died in Los Angeles while rehearsing for his comeback tour, This Is It. He was 50 years old. The official cause, cardiac arrest induced by acute propofol intoxication. His personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. But the real cause was a lifetime of being misunderstood, misrepresented, and ultimately broken. After Michael's death, Neverland became a pilgrimage site. Fans gathered at the gates, leaving flowers, teddy bears, handwritten notes. They mourned not just the man but the dream he had tried to build. Because Neverland was never about Michael Jackson the superstar. It was about Michael Jackson the boy who never got to ride a Ferris wheel, never got to feed a giraffe, never got to fall asleep feeling safe, and for a brief, beautiful moment, he built a place where that boy could exist. But the world wouldn't let him. Today, Neverland Ranch still stands privately owned, closed to the public. The rides are gone, the animals are gone, the laughter is gone. All that remains are memories and the haunting question, what if we had believed him? What if we had seen Neverland for what it truly was? Not a nightmare, but a man's desperate attempt to heal the unhealable, to give others the childhood that was stolen from him. Michael Jackson built Neverland as a sanctuary. The world turned it into a prison, and in the end, it became his tomb, not where he died, but where his spirit was buried long before his heart stopped beating.